Hey there, welcome in. I'm Jonathan Acosta, joined here by our WGRZ Bills insider, Vic Carucci. We're continuing to take a look at the biggest storylines facing these Buffalo Bills as they get ready for training camp just a few days away over in Pittsford at St. John Fisher University. And right now we're going to take a look at the offensive line, not necessarily the sexiest position on the team, but one that is so vital, and we saw how important it was to the Bills' success last season. 5 guys starting every game on that line for the Bills as they made a run to the AFC divisional round. Certainly that offensive line was one of the strengths of the team. It could be one of the strengths of the team this year, but it's going to have a couple of new faces, and therefore it's one of the biggest storylines that I know, Vic, you're looking forward to this training camp.
This is really, to me, probably the most critical area that I'm going to be looking to see how it develops in camp. I know there will be a lot of focus on all these new faces at wide receiver, but this offensive line, in my view, lost a critical piece in Mitch Morse, and the team lost a critical piece in Mitch Morse. The Bills made a decision to move on from him, but doing so really when he was playing his best football for them, and the line being one of the strengths of this football team last season. So you take him away from that, and now we've got to see how it comes together. Yes, they already have a replacement in Connor McGovern, who will tell you he is more comfortable at center than he was at guard, but I still think this is going to be a transition for this entire group, just to see how well McGovern can pull together everything, show that glue, that leadership piece, and all the signal calling, the blocking combinations, all those signals that come from the center position. McGovern can do that, but Mitch Morse really was on point all the time with that.
And it's interesting because Morse's departure significant on a lot of few levels. The experience he had, and speaking through him through last season, which was certainly a roller coaster of a season for the Bills, Mitch Morse was one of the guys always speaking with the media. You felt like he was truly one of the leaders in that locker room. That'll certainly be a big piece that this team is missing. But also his departure creates kind of 2 new spaces on the offensive line, right? Because McGovern fills that spot, but McGovern was starting at guard last year for the Bills. So by McGovern sliding over to center, that creates a new starter for Buffalo at the guard spot as well.
Yeah, there's going to be competition, of course, to see who fills that spot and how well it comes together. I have a lot of faith in Aaron Kromer to pick the 5 right guys to fill that. But I really think that this transition, again, where you are filling 2 new positions, counting the fact that McGovern's at center, now puts the line in a bit of upheaval because there is a chemistry piece to that in terms of how the tackles fall into everything. And we know stability-wise, Deion Dawkins is, a number 1 for this team. And then Spencer Brown, I thought, came into his own last year. But now we will see how, the guards respond to that. And I think in many ways, this team did well and found the interior play. Now, Morse was a big part of that a year ago, but when you're transitioning with that, time is not a friend, but time is going to be needed. Training camp won't be necessarily enough time for all of it to come together. This is something that could easily take upwards of a quarter of the regular season before you get a unit playing together as a unit, trusting each other as a unit.
And you touched on Deion Dawkins and Spencer Brown. Deion Dawkins is maybe someone who we expected a pretty good season from last year, but Spencer Brown certainly took a step over at right tackle, and Osiris Torrance came in at guard and was fantastic for this Bills team. How important is it? Are you expecting continued growth or even just continuing that level of play, especially from Torrance and Brown this season?
Torrance especially, it has to have a big year too. His year 1 was highly impressive as a rookie. It spoke volumes about how well and how ready he was for the NFL as a rookie. And you don't always see that from an offensive lineman. And the guard position, which is, again, another level, another challenge. But can he do it again in year 2? Sometimes all the time, frankly, teams are geared up to deal with what a guy showed, and now they have a better book on him to handle some of the tendencies that he has. And then mentally for him, the challenge of playing in the NFL obviously felt for him a bit easier than he might have even anticipated, but it doesn't get easier. And the other thing is fitting in with this group. Remember, he was able to take a lot of cues from Mitch Morse. Now those cues are coming from Connor McGovern, and at least at the outset here, they still have to learn each other, and there has to be that communication part of all this that needs to fully form, and I think it eventually will. These are all sharp and smart guys, and it goes back to Aaron Kromer's guidance as the O-line coach. He is one of the very best in the league and understands the strengths and weaknesses of each one of his offensive linemen.
Like we mentioned, offensive line, a crucial part of the Bills' success last season. The Bills certainly hope it's a crucial part of their success this season. What are the position groups we're going to really be watching when training camp gets underway over in Pittsburgh? Keep it tuned here on WGRZ.com and the WGRZ YouTube page as we continue to take a look at the biggest storylines facing these Bills ahead of training camp.